This afternoon, I'm with Nirav Patel from Andaria. Greetings, Nirav.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
A pleasure. Please tell us a bit about Andaria.
Absolutely. So we are, in essence, what you describe as a FinTech, naturally within this ecosystem. We're really predicated on a foundation of an EMI license or a regulation out of both Malta and the UK. And what is the solution or the problem we're trying to solve? I think it's double faceted, if you like. One is very much focused on business banking inclusion, so really being the go-to provider for business banking. We provide Andaria Payments, which is a multi-currency offering for money in, money out services, really focused on businesses and really sector agnostic. Now what's really fascinating is, I guess, the journey that we've really begun and will be showcasing today, which is embedded payments. And if I had to elevator pitch that, it's our clients' ability to focus on their products and services, which is typically non-financial, while we seamlessly integrate the payments flow into the background. So I think that's a small snapshot about who we are and what we're doing.
So, so that we're absolutely clear about this, are your clients financial institutions, or are they companies that are not financial institutions but that want to do finance, or are they other people?
It's very much the latter. So what it's become is, as businesses evolve, it's all about generating alternative revenue streams. So to answer your first question, we're very much focused on non-financial institutions when it comes to embedded payments. Now, why is that interesting that businesses want to get into that space? Number one, it's always been a cost center. So typically and historically, your payments to your banking providers would have been a cost out of the door. For an embedded solution, by integrating our services, there's the opportunity to, number one, to cut costs, but also to mark up and create a new revenue stream under payments. So I think that holistic offering is very fascinating for businesses, but they also don't want the headache of taking on a financial license infrastructure. Being regulated, for example, comes with its own kind of nuances and kind of another cost, essentially. So we focus on what we're very good at, allow businesses to focus on what they're very good at, but generate economies of scale while we're kind of combining the two, if you like.
So, in summary, if I'm a business selling A,
yes,
and I want to sell B to my customers, that's to say to cross-sell, and to do it using e-commerce, i.e. with embedded finance, I can come to Andaria and you can help me.
Absolutely, and really the way that we do it is to keep things as simple as possible. Because in a world, and if you look at FinTech from the outside, arguably it looks very convoluted, but if you strip it down to its bare bones, the offering is actually very simple in nature. And I think we want to bring that to our clients, and the simplest way to do that is we focus on API integration, so these are single API integrations, but also what is paramount and prevalent in today's financial digital market, if you like, is security. So one of our underlying themes, if you like, that we focus on is security. So how would we go and address the security solution, for example, is now in the world of finance there is something called strong customer authentication.
Yes.
And under an embedded model, there is a heightened risk, even in the digital space, a heightened risk of cyber attacks. So we now implement an SDK, so a software development kit,
yes,
inside a platform. Now the users of that platform, if they want to ever access the payment service, would use this SDK, which would circumvent our client and come directly to us. So what that means is now we're reducing the risk there, so there's a heightened level of security, it's PSD2 compliant, which is very important. So it's our iteration or nuance in how we make embedded payments that much more secure.
You've mentioned a number of things which I perceive to be important strengths, such as your APIs, such as your compliance with the PSD regulations, such as your ability to handle cybersecurity risks. Are there any other things that you would highlight for businesses that are thinking of using Andaria or another external software provider?
Sure, so I think it's very much doing your homework, and I think it's important that in an environment where the offering is vast, I think we're not going to be everything to everyone. But so what I'd implore businesses to do is go and see what's out there, and why I'm confident in our offering within that is that we offer that simplicity element. So to come and look under the hood, if you like, there's no magical trade secrets. We do things very simply, very to the point, but we very much focus on the solution for the business. So rather than being you have to fit our mold, we very much look at the business at hand, understand their complexities, understand the solutions that's right for them, and really drive it that way. So my advice for anyone coming into it is go in there, do your homework, understand who's in the field, and I think from there really then take the time to make your decision.
Thank you. Are there any geographies or industry verticals which are particularly important for you?
Yes, so I wouldn't quite call them verticals, although it can be argued that they are. And geography, so being regulated in Europe and the UK, we're very much focused in those industries. But if you look at verticals, we're a solutions-focused embedded payments offering.
Yes.
What does that mean? So it's probably, again, two facets again, if you like. One is the B2B2C space, so consumer at the end. Now, our real focus there is in the payroll space.
Yes.
So historically, you would have seen if, for argument's sake, you're an employee of, I'm inventing, McDonald's, for example, lead up to Christmas, you're short of cash. Historically, you would have probably gone to a payday lender, exorbitant interest rates, essentially fueling debt. Governments are not very keen on this because it's fueling debt within the economy. And that's given rise to something called earned wage access. Now, earned wage access is very much focused within the payroll sector. It's your ability to draw down on your payroll as an employee benefit intra-month, X amount of times in the year. So we would be the facilitator of the payments engine for those providers of earned wage access. So we would, again, allow them to focus on what they do very good at, which is the earned wage access piece. We would seamlessly integrate the IBAN offering, the payments rails, and everything in the background, and the cards that allows that machine to work. So that's one very key solution-driven, I guess, because that transcends industries.
Yes.
Because payroll as a solution is across all industries. In a similar vein, under the B2B space, we're very much focused on something that's inherently, I guess, present with most businesses, which is account receivables and account payables issues, if you like. So 30-day invoicing, late invoices, whatever it might be, invoice factoring, there's various guises of this. So from a B2B2B point of view, we're very much focused on accounts receivable and accounts payable. And really the aim there is to create an ecosystem, and a really good example is anyone, an accounting software package. Their clients are typically businesses. Now, they would offer their software to those businesses.
Yes.
We would, again, just integrate our payments into the background. So now every time they onboard a new client, they would get an IBAN offered, and that would allow now for seamless kind of monthly payments between the software provider of the accounting and their client. So it's just kind of closing the loop, if you like, and creating an ecosystem.
When you look forward into the world of embedded payments and you think about how it might change over the next 2 to 3 years, what are the main things that you see?
Sure. I think it's going to very much come down to, let me rephrase that slightly. So businesses of various nature are looking for what? Essentially time spent, be it in their ecosystem, be it on their platforms. And I think that's a key underlying factor as to why embedded payments is pushing towards a forefront and almost surpassing banking as a service.
Yes.
So I think the evolution of consumer behavior, corporate behavior, and spending more and more time within a one-stop shop environment and the creation of the super app is really gearing not only the finance industry, but industries across the board towards moving towards embedded payments. Now, what I feel the challenge will be is those that are outside of the financial space will see what kind of needs to happen, but there will be some form of latency or something holding things back where it doesn't necessarily get to the pace that we want to get to. That's a challenge that can only really be overcome by education. So I think one of the key challenges for us is to go and educate the kind of non-financial market about what our solution is about. But saying all of that, if you look at what is projected for the industry, we're talking, I think, $3 trillion value industry by 2035. Embedded payments within the next 5 years takes about 140 billion in terms of projected revenue, new revenue by 2025. You then circumvent that into the small buckets that are within embedded. You've got embedded payments, embedded wealth, embedded insurance. I mean, let's pick on insurance, for example. There's going to come a point where at the point of sale, where typically you would be underinsured after buying a high-value item, that through an embedded offering, you'd get a policy at the point of sale. So if you've gone and brought your wife an engagement ring, for argument's sake, you could be insured at the point of sale. That's very much the insurance evolution of embedded. So payments is one facet, and I think the one with most potential, but there are also new facets being created, which is really going to, I think, shift the ecosystem really towards embedded as a whole.